an impact player later on. Dave Whiteford, again on the bench. He's just qualified 3-year eligibility. He's a Hong Kong Scottish player, and he's very excited, I know, about the opportunity of winning his first cap, and I'm sure he'll be thrown on into the fray in the second half as well. So yeah, I mean, as you say, that few new caps, but they're all fairly seasoned, experienced players, and I think that Hong Kong really will be quietly confident of getting a result out of this.
I mean, the Hong Kong local rugby community will see, those watching on TV, something very different about this markup. There's no Rowan Varties, no McQueen brothers, no Haynes brothers, real household names here in Hong Kong. And it's credit probably to the rugby program here in Hong Kong now that they are in a position to actually rest their entire 7 squad and put out an entire new 15.
Absolutely. I mean, with the programme that the Sevens boys have got coming up over the next few months, London Sevens and the World Cup and World Games in Colombia, makes sense to rest them. But as you say, it's wonderful that there's people now who can step into those gaps.
Indeed, and here we go. James Ham gets underway, and not the start that Charles French would have wanted. And off we go. And here comes that physical battle early doors.
Yeah, the UAE captain Brett Williams into the fray earlier on, knocking it up.
And there you see early, I think pretty humid out there, and expect a pretty slippy ball. That's 2 knock-ons in the space of 30 seconds, so not particularly a classic thus far.
Early nerves, AC, early nerves.
So here you go. I mean, you see the horse there, Steve Nolan, the big Irish boy here at tight head prop, a monster of a man. Yeah,
important first scrum. We talked about Leon, his first cap. So Hong Kong will be hoping to make an early marker and give the UAE a bit of a shunt on their ball.
I mean, as a back, apparently this is all very important, the first scrum. And
unfortunately,
here they go.
A bit too much of a shunt there, Andy. Went early, Hong Kong.
Arabian Gulf working it forward nicely. There's the big prop, Paolo Taddy getting his first tackling of the game. There'll be lots of those, no doubt.
I think the back row struggle battle is going to be particularly interesting. I know that the Hong Kong boys pride themselves on being a very tight unit. In UAE, Jamie Clark and Brett Williams, 2 standout players in their back row as well.
And you'll also see Mr. Matt Stockdale out there with his pink scrum cap on, showboating a little bit with the pink one. And Leon Y there giving away the first penalty, hands in the ruck. And I can imagine here this will be UAE's first shot at goal.
Yeah, very kickable position. And Captain Brett Williams, no hesitation in pointing to the sticks. So it looks like it'll be the number 10, James Ham, who will step up to have the first attempt at getting some points on the board. Hammy plays for the Dubai Hurricanes.
It's always good for a kicker to get a nice one in front of the post. It's a little bit to the left for him. But like I say, conditions very good, a bit humid, but apart from that, not a wind in sight, so he should knock this one over. And there's the commentator's curse.
He'll be disappointed with that. AC, that was a poor miss, and it wouldn't have done his confidence very good. That James Ham pulling the penalty attempt of the game past the left hand upright.
I think he's definitely got some nerves. He didn't really get hold of that initial kickoff either, and Chris McAdam there getting us restarted straight down to the number 7, James Clark, a big inspirational player, many caps for the former Arabian Gulf and now United Arab Emirates. Once again attacking the Hong Kong fringes, and good counter-rucking there from Alex Harris.
And the first line out of the game, so we didn't have much joy with the first scrum, so I'm sure both teams will be hoping that the line out goes a lot cleaner than the first set piece. UAE throw in.
Jonathan Greenwood there, good line out, a little bit messy. Once again we'll hit a head up in midfield.
Slow ball for UAE though. Hong Kong done well.
A good early hit there from Johnny Reese, cleaned out there, but I'll give first touch. Tom McCall, Hong Kong captain. A welcome addition back to the team after his training with Cathay Pacific. So he's been back in Hong Kong now for 6 months, and he really is a key player to not only Hong Kong but the Kowloon club. So he'll be a welcome addition, an excellent boot and a very good marshal of the defence. So he's a welcome, a man welcome back. UAE playing very, very narrow, quite easy for Hong Kong to defend. Hong Kong is sitting with 3 players now back in the fullback spot, anticipating the kick.
Loose ball there from UAE. They managed to retain possession and set themselves again. But as you say, they're not making much progress. I think Hong Kong quite happy to soak up the early pressure from UAE.
And as expected, there's that first kick. Tom McCall's position excellent. And here he'll have a go. Across to Chris McAdam. He's got Steph Alfonsi over there to his left. And he's an excellent kick into the corner now. He'll want that to roll, but not too much.
Perfectly judged weight.
That's an excellent return there for Hong Kong. They'll be happy with that. Lovely kick from Chris McAdam, forcing the kick, and that'll be Hong Kong's ball down in UAE's territory.
So Hong Kong's first line out, and they've got 2 very experienced second rows in Dan Watson and Charlie French, so they'll certainly be hoping that the line out is an area of strength for them in this game. First row cleanly taken by Charlie French.
Good there with Aris Harris. He's got a good opportunity today. Tom Boland has recently got himself married, as usually the starting hooker. So Alex gets a look in today with Tom on the bench, so he'll be looking to impress. This is a good one. There's Leon White at the back there, trailing on, being bossed around by Kurt Monroe, another new, one of the newer caps. There's Ali McClay.
Well, the pressure from that excellent rolling ball from Hong Kong pays off. They find themselves with a very kickable opportunity just in front of the posts, and Tom McCall no hesitation in calling up Chris McAdam to have a first shot at the goal.
Solid start there from Hong Kong there, Robbie.
Very impressive. I think that the forwards will be delighted with very good clean line out. Charlie French did very well, secured possession, and then an excellent rolling ball. They'll be very happy if they can push the UAE around like that for the rest of the afternoon. I'm sure the forwards will be delighted.
There we go, Chris McAdams for his first shot at goal for the day.
Almost identical position to the one that James Ham missed just a few minutes ago.
A slightly different result there, yes. That's a good start for Hong Kong. Something interesting you see a lot more now about with the Asian Five Nations is that teams know each other quite well, obviously with TV coverage and so forth, and as well as the Asian Five Nations brought a whole new element of professionalism to the game, and you can see obviously with teams know each other, they're expecting, and you can see the way Hong Kong are lining up and the way Arabian Gulf are lining up as well. United Arab Emirates, are lining up in terms of just the knowledge of each other, and they played each other in the summertime. Hong Kong walking away with a 51-6 win there, so Hong Kong would be expecting to win this game at home.
For sure. I mean, the analysis that all these teams are doing now is quite extensive and certainly a lot more professional than back in your day, AC. And I know that already the other match from this weekend, the Japan-Philippines game, both teams by the end of this evening will have the tapes of that game, and will be no doubt going through it, looking with some interest at in particular at how they're going to take on the Philippines in the weeks to come.
I expect UAE to put the ball in the corner here after a deliberate knockdown.
Well, UAE really haven't spent much time in the Hong Kong half yet, so I'm sure that they will be looking for a little bit of sustained pressure and try and get at least another penalty opportunity. That result from earlier today in Japan is certainly a bit of a worrying sign for all the other top 5 nations. I mean, Japan, Eddie Jones claimed that he was putting in some younger, inexperienced players to build up towards the 2015-2019 World Cup, and well, if that's his second choice team putting 121 points on the Philippines, then let's hope he doesn't pick his first choice for the match against Hong Kong next week, AC.
He's obviously got some good youngsters coming through, and Philippines are, they are behind Japan, surprisingly, their second most successful team in the Asian 5-nation competition. They've only lost, this was their second game they've lost, only losing to Korea last year for the first time in 5 years, Robbie.
No, I didn't know that, AC.
They're a real success story. They've come at the bottom of the pile and they've moved their way all the way up to the first division, which is real credit to them. And at the end of the day, everyone knows in the region that Japan are a long way ahead. They're a professional outfit, and that is they are the flagship team to chase. And Hong Kong are building up there, and I don't think Hong Kong will expect to beat them, but they'll want to be making that gap between the two of them a little bit smaller each time.
Absolutely. Well, UAE managed to get possession from that line out and knocking it up the middle now, trying to draw Hong Kong in. Nice bit of hands work there from James Ham, the number 10.
It's good pressure there from Hong Kong. Turnover ball. It's Johnny Rees hitting it up. Not something he specialises hitting up. The smallest man on the field, I think, but he's got a big heart. He'll have a good crack at anything. It's Parley having a go up there. Ali McClay, the big unit in midfield, to Steph Alfonsi. He likes a bit of space as home ground. Cleaned up there from Kurt Monroe, messy ball. Lots of big timber here, sitting in midfield here. Steve Nolan, and he comes there with his Hong Kong Football Club partner, Dan Watson. Chris McAdam now on the ball.
Looked a wee bit forward that. I think Hong Kong lucky to get away with that.
Lovely little kick over the top there. Johnny Rees, lovely ball, great work, and there's the first try of the day. That's Stu McGaw of Hong Kong Football Club. Wonderfully worked try that. Lovely little chip over the top from Chris McAdam. Unselfish play there from Johnny Rees. Mustn't be a real winger. You don't give those in the 22. And Stu McGaw, I think, possibly getting his first international try.
Some superb bits of individual skill there. I'm sure the Hong Kong coaches will be absolutely delighted with the way that the backs linked up there and showed some very, very nice bits of finesse.
I think you're starting to see a pattern now. Hong Kong will build and build. They've got confidence in their defensive pattern. Once they get that turnover ball, 2 or 3 phases, and already you're seeing gaps out wide. And that's something that Hong Kong have really brought. They really have become a very professional outfit in a very short space of time. In the last sort of 2 years, you've seen Hong Kong transfer from a team that didn't really have too much structure, relied heavily on their sevens flair, and now really are a very well structured side.
Absolutely, it's certainly a worrying sign for the UAE as Chris McAdam notches up the extra 2 points for the conversion. So a 10-point lead. We've had about 12 minutes on the clock, AC. UAE really have to be the next to score, otherwise things are looking a bit grim for them for the next 70-odd minutes.
Certainly, it's hard to come away from home at the best of times, but then got humid climate, losing your captain, and then 12 minutes in, you're 10-0 down. So not the start they probably wanted. Nicely secured there from Charles French. Steve Nolan helping him out there, and Kurt Monroe bossing them around. Little nudge over the top. Again, Johnny Rees. Up he goes. Lovely hands from Johnny Rees. Oh, he's unfortunately didn't give the early ball.
So again, very slow ball from UAE. happy to pick and go, keep a bit of possession.
Hong Kong consolidating by the fact they've lost this ball now, just fanning out and waiting. Fortunately giving away the penalty, not rolling away Steve Nolan.
Certainly a very lively start from Johnny Rees though, AC.
Indeed, I mean they've obviously targeted something here. That's the second kick in 2 minutes, and credit to Johnny, he's collected both of those. Fortunately probably shouldn't have given the early ball though, and I may have cursed him by saying wingers don't give those sort of passes when they're in the 22, so white line fever maybe.
Yeah, Matt Lambing will be cursing him. He looked as if he was home and dry if that pass had gone to hand.
James Ham looking for touch. Nicely done, and up we come to the halfway line.
Well, the last couple of UAE lineouts, Charlie French and Dan Watson, have been getting up there and challenging quite nicely, so it'll be interesting to see whether Hong Kong can steal this one.
So, Jonathan Greenwood, messed up there, cleaned up by Paolo Tati. Good job. Fortunately, knock on there for Hong Kong, so it'll be a scrum down UAE. We haven't had a clean scrum yet, though, have we, Robbie?
No, we haven't had many scrums at all, AC, which in the modern game is often a bit of a blessing.
No excuses, though. Obviously, the Hong Kong Football Club pitch here is AstroTurf, so there won't be any turf coming up. So we should see a good, solid scrum.
Great pressure from Hong Kong.
Excellent work there from Alex Harris. One against the head early doors. Shooting up there, lovely. Clean up from Chris McAdam. Stu McGaw taking it up forward, still working, pumping his legs. Supported by Parley. Really is good work there in midfield by Hong Kong, tidied it up. Kurt Monroe getting caught though behind the back of the scrum. Hong Kong just keep plugging away. Picking and going. Fortunately, knock on there. And there we go again, Robbie. We've said we don't have many scrums, got 2 in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, and Hong Kong will be delighted with the outcome of the set pieces so far. UAE, they haven't had much clean ball in the lineouts, and Hong Kong taking a tight head scrum there. You don't see those too often.
Talking about the Hong Kong scrum, I mean, in the past, if you'd lost someone, for example, of Ian Ridgway's calibre, who unfortunately he's picked up an injury building up to this A5N, Hong Kong would have been in a bit of panic. But it's a position that Hong Kong all of a sudden has got a wealth of in the front row.
I think that's also comes down to the point you were making before about the increased depth in players within the Hong Kong league system. With the likes of James Cooper now eligible on the bench for Hong Kong in the front row. Alex Ng, who's not involved with the squad at this point, but another regular from the Five Nations last year. You're quite right. There's far greater choice for Coach Lee Jones in terms of really positions from 1 to 15.
And Leon Wyman, he's a real success story. He's gone from playing centre to number 8 to prop. Now, is he turned into a good prop, or is his mum a good cook? Which one is it? Because he's running out of places to go.
Yeah, normally that move in towards the lower numbers happens when players are a little bit older, but he seems to have achieved it by the age of 19. But what it does mean is that he has got great hands, and he hasn't lost all the attributes he had when he started off in the backs, which makes him a well-rounded player to have in your front row.
While we were chatting away there, James Ham knocks one into the corner again. I think you're certainly seeing a theme that Raven Golf don't seem to be making the inroads into midfield that they'd hoped to, and having to kick for territory in which Hong Kong just seem to be lapping up at the moment.
Another great take by Charlie French there. Number 4 ball for Hong Kong.
There's Big Ali. Up he goes into midfield, collecting the ball, a bit slippy out there again. And here we go. Matt Stockdale, big burst. Here goes the big man. Loves a good run. Played professionally at Leeds before coming to Hong Kong for the Kowloon Club. It's Alex Harris. Lovely work from Chris McAdam again. Lovely feet work. Johnny Rees looking to collect it. Did he have the ball? And that could be straight outside the 22, so he'll go back to where it was kicked.
Not much respite there for UAE, but they were lucky not to give away another try. Johnny Rees is certainly on fire. He's doing a lot of damage down that right wing every time they get the ball to him. And Chris McAdams obviously picked up on that and is linking very well with his right winger.
Yeah, it really was lovely feet there from Chris McAdams, little offload. There we go, Alex Harris. He'll be happy with his line-out work at the moment. That's 4 from 4 if my numbers are correct.
Good take by Matt Lamming at the front.
Coming straight through the middle there, unfortunately. Kurt Monroe working hard.
Front 5 forwards linking well. Loose ball, and Hong Kong find themselves with another penalty in a very kickable position.
Be interesting here to see the call by Tom McCall. He seems to be looking to the corner. And yeah, that says a lot about Hong Kong's confidence. In it goes. Happy with the 10 points and looking for the 7.
Well, you can see the reasoning. They're putting together some good continuity. Hong Kong, they're very confident with the line out, but would you have taken the 3 points there, AC?
I think they should be confident in the way the pack are moving forward. Each time they've gone wide, they've got over the gain line. So as a unit, they seem to be working very well. Again, Charles French, exceptionally reliable, and hopefully they'll trundle over and make it a good risk they've taken.
Just trying to get the rolling maul going again there. UAE bring it down.
And there's also huge threats out wide, and that's Paolo. Yep, Paolo in on the corner, so they'll be happy with that. Sorry, I think it's Matt Lamming. Well, he did get his try in the end, even though Johnny Rees didn't give it to him earlier. He's got himself a try.
Yeah, and he's got his forward friends to thank for that. That again was a lovely worked line out. Rolling maul, UAE managed to slow it down, but it was too late to stop Matt Lamming.
So an inspired decision there from Tom McCall to hit into the corner. Good work. It's the Hong Kong bench there in the corner getting warmed up. Won't take too long in this heat. You look at this Hong Kong team as well. I mean, the pack are playing very, very well, and each time they pick and go, it's drawing a little bit of energy out of the UAE. And then you look out wide, you see someone like Ali McClay, who's a big lad in midfield, and Hong Kong have got to be thinking, they would have seen the score this morning against Japan, and they want to make a statement as well and on the opening game of the tournament at home.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the big test against Japan to come next week, as Chris McAdam just pulls the conversion attempt wide. But sure, they'll be hoping to build some momentum, build some confidence from today's match, knowing that next week really is when they come up with that big test against Asia's reigning champions. Slightly worrying sign. Chris McAdam seems to be holding a rib there, is he, AC?
He does seem to be. We've got Niall Roark, who's on the bench, the Valley fly half, who kicked a fantastic drop goal in the Grand Championship final a couple of months back. So he'll be full of confidence, want to get a run out here at Football Club.
Well, poor old UAE, nothing seems to be going right at the moment. The restart from James Ham not going 10, so Hong Kong immediately back on the front foot. Scrum in the middle of the pitch, and looks like the backs lined up on the left. What would you expect them to do from here?
Well, it's left a very big blindside here. Tom McCall coming round. Got to get over that. He's got Johnny Rees again. They seem to be keen on getting this ball to Johnny Rees. Working very hard. Excellent footwork. Oh, unlucky there though. Matt Stockdale thought he was under the posts. Great work. Really great footwork there from Johnny Rees. He's having an excellent first 20 minutes.
He certainly is, as you say. Whether or not the Hong Kong analysts have seen a bit of a weakness on the left wing for UAE, but they are making superb use of Johnny Rees, who is having a excellent game.
And you see the intelligence there of someone like Tom McCall. It's the basic things. Do the basic things right. It makes everything else, the whole game, seem easy. and it was just a brilliant draw pass, giving Johnny Rees time to make a decision and have a good go. And that's exactly what wingers want. They want the ball early and they want it into space. And Tom McCall is such an unselfish player, and he really is an ideal person for young guys to watch in terms of the lines he picks and the decisions he makes. He really is a very, very good fullback.
So Hong Kong with a scrum just outside the 5 metre.
And they made a bit of a mess of that. Tom McCall working back now with the kick downfield, assessing these situations. He's got Ali McClare on the inside. And bundled into touch. Won't be too happy with that decision though. I think I may have just cursed him again.
Well, Hong Kong will be disappointed with the result of that scrum up near the UAE line. They had the hit, but unfortunately careless bit of footwork from Parley at the back of the scrum, and the ball squirted out, and UAE managed to take play up to near the halfway line. And then worrying sign for the Hong Kong bench. That looks like Chris McAdam is certainly in a lot of trouble.
So on comes Niall Roark, the Valley fly half. Come all the way through the Hong Kong youth system, so it's always good to see that. The guys who've played their club rugby here, from mini rugby all the way up, school rugby's been to university and come back, so that's exactly what Hong Kong rugby wants to see, Robbie.
Absolutely. Let's see whether that change affects the Hong Kong game plan at all.
What you'll probably see from Niall is he's a young fly half and he likes to have a go. He plays the game in the right manner, hence why he's such a success at Valley, who like to throw the ball around, and he I think he'll only bring a bit more excitement to the game, which was unfortunate because Chris McAdam was having a very good opening 20 minutes. But I think Niall will take his chance. He's full of confidence, so and again it shows the depth. In the past you'd lose a player of your fly half calibre, and all of a sudden you're replacing it with juggling it around and trying to get your best players out of position a little bit. But here you've replaced a good 10 with a good 10. So credit to Niall getting himself in there, and I think he'll take his chance.
Let's hope so, and let's hope that Chris McAdam's nothing too serious, and maybe we'll see him back in the Japan match next week. Good solid scrum from Hong Kong once again.
Good work there from Anthony Barreto from UAE, getting in the way, cutting off the supply pass there to fly half, and that's a good turnover ball from UAE, and they'll go straight into their game plan of knocking it up and then playing it downfield, no doubt. Scrappy ball, tidied up there by the big lock, Eddie Talbot.
UAE went to the boot, tried to take a leaf out of the Hong Kong playbook there, but ends up with Hong Kong with the throw-in. UAE seem to be bringing, or seem to be trying to bring Chris Birch, the big centre, into the game a bit more now. If you were the UAE coach, AC, how would you be trying to break the Hong Kong defence?
I mean, I think they've certainly got to be playing a little wider. It's easy to defend just one off the ruck, which they seem to be playing. And they're probably going with the right tactic, bringing in the Big 12, Chris Birch, because you've got to give your forwards a bit of a respite, but you've got to play downtown. And here we go again with Tom McCall. Again, a lovely ball. Johnny Rees having to go for the corner, puts on his brakes, and he'll be under the post here. That's a great bit of footwork again. Great work from Johnny Rees. Again, Tom McCall into space, and Johnny's had a few chances, and he's got himself his try.
Great finishing, showed some excellent pace there, and again, lovely bit of footwork, the cut back inside. The Hong Kong backs really linking up extremely well, good understanding between them all, and that brings up the 20-point mark with the conversion attempt to come.
It's it's a common trait you see when teams are getting tired. They get narrower and narrower, and opportunities will come out wide. And even the inside D there, you'd expect them to have picked Johnny Rees up, but just people get tired, ball watching and corner flagging, and that's just what happens. With one single step, he's beat 3 players. So brilliant vision from Johnny, and a good try.
Certainly proving to be a tough day at the office for the UAE left winger. Luke Mooring is finding it very difficult to keep Johnny Rees in check, obviously.
Here we go, Niall Rourke with his first attempt, and this will be good for his confidence. So hopefully for the Hong Kong support, he'll nudge this one over. And over it goes.
So the conversion from Niall Rourke brings up 22 points for Hong Kong. UAE yet to make the scoreboard. And just about 10 minutes of the first half remaining.
James Ham will want to make the 10 metres here, giving his team a chance. And there he goes. He made sure of that one. And spilled there from Charles French. So that's an advantage to UAE. They might as well have a few cracks at this. None to lose with the advantage. Again, very slow ball. It's very easy to defend. Hong Kong just fanning out each time, not committing numbers, and that they'll keep doing this all day long until an error comes. Excellent work there from Paule, driving them back. So far UAE are just going backwards.
So knock on there, each way. UAE not making the game line yet. It's certainly tough work out there for the UAE players. Hong Kong really putting on excellent pressure in defence, and UAE finding it very, very difficult to find any cracks that they can exploit at the moment.
I mean, the big thing they've got to look to do now is they've got to speed up their game. It's so easy to hit a ruck and wait and take your time again. It's almost just slowing the game down for the sake of avoiding not having the ball or making a mistake. You've got to play quick. You've got to force teams to be stretched in defence. And Hong Kong at the moment, it's just a walk in the park. It's a training run for them in defence.
Hong Kong forwards linking well there. Charlie French and Horse. Unfortunately, Leon Wide just knocking the ball forward, and UAE taking the possession.
Here again, it's taking it static again. Got to be taking it forward, backing them up, working in pods. It's still ones and twos. Good work there from Stu McGaw. Loose ball though, Niall Rourke trying to fly hack it through, but tied it up by UAE. That'll be Hong Kong ball over the knock on.
Good pressure again from the Hong Kong defensive line. And a scrum to come, and though Hong Kong forwards I think will be enjoying scrum time at the moment, AC. They certainly have the upper hand in the set pieces, and I'm sure they'll be looking to give the UAE boys another bit of a nudge, just to keep them on the back foot with the remaining 10 minutes of the first half.
I think Lee Jones will be very happy. I mean, he's picked this pod of forwards deliberately to counter the big UAE pack. And they've had a very good 25-30 minutes, very dominant, and working hard in the open there. You know, Leon Wine nearly getting his hands on the ball. When you see guys like Steve Nolan and Charles French in the open, it's great stuff. And it means they're not just there to do the hard yards, the scrums and the lineouts, etc. They're really offering themselves around the park. And that makes life so much easier for the likes of Ali McClay, Stu McGaw, who are expected to also do the hard yards out in midfield. So Lee Jones has got to be really happy with how his pack's working.
So another solid scrum from Hong Kong. Pali Tauti on the pickup from number 8.
He found himself a little isolated. Lucky to get away with a little knock on there, I think. Not picked up by the touchy. Nope, there you go.
We haven't mentioned the referee yet. It's the very experienced Taizo Hirabayashi from Japan, who's in charge of today's match. Taizo has been on the International Asian panel for quite a few years now, and has had experience overseas in both Super Rugby and appeared as an AR in the Six Nations a couple of seasons ago.
And quickly taken there by Anthony. Off he goes wide again now for UAE. They'll be wanting to try and spread this. It'll be the first time. There's poor number 12, took his eyes off that ball, saw Parley coming, and Chris Birch copping one. Probably didn't want that. The pressure that Hong Kong are placing straight away, it's almost like a blitz defence. They're giving them no time to get over the gain line. And unfortunately, every time a UAE player's taking the ball, he's static, which is just easy pickings at the moment. UAE have got to get moving through to the ball. I know it's slippy, but Hong Kong seem to be getting it done, and there's just this real stagnant, almost lack of confidence within each other in the team. Another good solid scrum in here. Tom McCall having a go. He's a big lad. Keeps his legs pumping. Oh, and he's brought it back in. He's got away with that. Very lucky, but it's a great bit of work from Tom McCall. Good strength. And fair play to him. He let it go, but he's dragged it back in. So great work from the captain, Tom McCall.
Well, the UAE coach has really got to be wondering what he can do to shore up this left flank, because Hong Kong at the moment, the combination of previously McAdam and now McCall and Rees just seem to be running in tries almost at will down this right wing.
There's just poor tackles there, you know, not a good advert for kids. It was just guys using their arms basically. They've got to get their shoulders stuck in. He's brushed off a number 8 there, the fullback, the wing, and fair play, he's a strong old boy, but these guys are playing international rugby and should be making their tackles, and great work from Tom McCall. And that's their bonus point. So that'll be the first objective, is to win a game. Next one is try and get your bonuses, and Hong Kong will be happy with that, with 33 minutes on the clock and already 27-0 up.
So a slightly more testing kick from Niall Rowett. Not on his favoured side as a right-footed kicker.
And he's just pushed that one to the right of the upright. But tough kick, but that leaves Hong Kong 27-0 up.
So James Ham is getting a bit of kicking practice today at these restarts. UAE will be hoping that he won't be doing too many before the end of the first half.
Taken there by Parley, keeping his legs pumping, but a bit of crossing, so this puts UAE in a good attacking position.
And what's Captain Brett Williams going to go for here? He's asking James Ham to kick for the corner.
What do you think we're going to see here, Robbie? A driving maul?
I think that's what they'll be hoping for. They've pulled numbers out the line out. Good take by UAE in middle ball. Sure enough, it's a rolling maul.
Big Brett Williams has got his hands on it at the back there.
And brings in the penalty. Down. Certainly more encouraging for UAE.
Certainly playing to their strengths, Robbie. They're big pack. So once again put into the corner there by James Ham. Another good clean line out. Hong Kong will be expecting this, but hopefully this is the sort of training route that you'd be expecting guys to have a plan with.
Yeah, the rolling maul, very effective attacking tool. Hong Kong try for the early sack, but UAE keep it up.
Lovely work there from UAE, good stuff. And yes, they've got themselves a try there. We'll have to have a look at the mayhem as the bodies come up. Who's got that ball? It's the captain, number 8, Brett Williams, leading from the front. Good man. Good stuff. That's exactly what UA needed. Get themselves on that scoreboard. Get a bit of confidence.
Nicely worked rolling maul. Hong Kong knew it was coming, but very difficult to defend against when it's done well. And UAE showed some impressive skills.
So James Ham, second kick of the day. This one, first one being a penalty. So slightly more difficult. Off to the left here. Wouldn't have been too happy with his first strike, but he's got a slightly more difficult kick, but he's got something to have a crack at, which is good. Great strike there, good work. Immediately seeing the confidence who's back.
So, an important lift for the UAE as we approach half-time. First scores on the board. Well-worked rolling wall try, successfully converted by James Ham and cutting the lead down to 27 points to 7. Lovely hanging restart kick from Niall Rowick, but well taken by UAE.
And Johnny Rees getting his hands on the ball again. Tom McCall coming hard onto the line. Great tackle there though from Luke Morang.
Hong Kong find themselves with a penalty. And it looks like Hong Kong will be also going down the line-out rolling wall route, AC. What UAE can do, perhaps Hong Kong can do as well.
Indeed. Pack getting together there. Really are a big unit. Alex Harris getting all set. Had an excellent line-out first half.
Great take by Charlie French.
Charlie French. He'll be bossing around. Kurt Monroe. Leon White at the back there. Be great to get a head try for him today on debut. Bossing him around. Nicely moving forward. Crush there now. Hong Kong want to clean this up. An excellent work there from UAE in defence. They've spoiled that and that'll be very frustrating for Hong Kong.
Yep, line-outs going very well though for Hong Kong. Charlie French is winning a lot of very clean ball in the middle of the line-out. And UAE will need to put in a solid scrum here if they're going to relieve the pressure.
Big scrum there from Hong Kong as well. Penalised there, looks like they're pushing up, driving up. Big Steve Nolan. Always baffles me as a back, that Robbie, why when you've been so dominant in a scrum that you'd even remotely try to cheat.
I think they just can't help themselves, to be honest, Stacey.
I felt the eyes of about 1,000 front rows there staring at me here in the commentary box.
So UAE have nudged play up to just outside of 22 and find themselves with a line out.
Well up there though from Dan Watson, cleaned up there by Alex Harris. His boys back to go. Parley picks and goes. Another good couple of yards. Steve Nolan there to back him up. Leon Y. Oh, Matt Lamming just taking his eye off the ball, looking up.
Hong Kong, good attacking scrum position. Johnny Rees lurking dangerously on that right wing again.
Most likely the last player this first half, so Hong Kong will be looking to finish on a good note. UAE hopefully trying to keep them out. You'd expect Hong Kong to have a set move from here. Ali McClay standing very deep and Johnny Rees just off the shoulder there of Niall Rowick. Left a very big open side, blind side here, which Parley might take a look at. It looks like UAE have turned it over. Gone back downtown again, turning Johnny Rees, who will look for his boys in midfield. He's found Ali McClay. He's found Tom McCall. Tom McCall will have a go back inside to Ali. Lovely interplay there from the Hong Kong backs with Seb Alfonsi taking it into contact.
The Hong Kong backs playing with real confidence.
Just lost there by Alex Harris, but knocked backwards luckily, so Hong Kong tidy that up. They'll still be looking for that score before the end. Nice little pick and go, cleaned out there by Charles French, and Parley taking on again. Good strength from him, nicely away. Now Rock looking for the corner again, this left corner of UAE's, and he's just caught the line, so that'll take us into half time. So Hong Kong and UAE teams will trudge off for a welcome bottle of water. Extremely hot here, Robbie, but I think clearly, just looking at the score line and just the general play as well, Hong Kong will be the happier of the two teams.
Absolutely, very convincing first half display from Hong Kong. Set pieces going extremely well. The forwards are winning some very solid ball, and the backs running in some excellent tries.
Turn your attention to the scoreboard end of the ground. We can see Bill the mascot for the British and Irish Lions. I think, as we all know, that the HSBC British and Irish Lions are kicking off their tour here in Hong Kong, playing the Barbarians on the 1st of June at the Hong Kong Stadium. And also the scoreboard end of the ground, we have 6 children who are from the Hong Kong Federation of Youth. And they're going to have a rugby kicking contest, trying to get the ball through the posts. Earlier on today, Dino Huramini, who is the HSBC ARFU grassroots coordinator, introduced about 30 kids to rugby. Part of a Asian-wide program that HSBC is the sponsor for. So let's have a big hand for HSBC, our sponsor. So if you look at the balls, the kids are using down there, they are picked for a very good reason, because they are sponsored by Thomas Pitt, the official outfitter of the British and Irish Lions, and also the Hong Kong Rugby Football Union. So a big thank you to Thomas Pitt.
Understandable.
10, 9, 8.
Hong Kong Football Club in week 1 of the HSBC Asian Five Nations. Hong Kong leading UAE at the interval 27 points to 7. And we're going to take a look at some of those highlights from the first half now.
A slightly different result there, yes, that's a good start for Hong Kong. And 3 points just to settle the nerves there for Hong Kong. Obviously we lost Chris McAdam later on. And then we saw the first of Hong Kong starting to work this UAE left wing. Johnny Rees had a very busy first half, and this was the first of his collected kicks, setting up Stu McGaw for the first of Hong Kong's 4 tries. Next one again, you see Stu just running in for his try from a different angle. Lovely work there from Johnny Rees. Next one was a good pick and go there from Matt Lamming. Good work, good set pick from Hong Kong forwards, and getting their reward there. Matt Lamming driving over, and a little extra nudge there from Charles French. Here we are again with Tom McCall. Lovely time pass here. Johnny Rees with a lovely right-footed step, beating 3 players, and in he went just from outside the post. Lovely work there from Johnny Rees. He really did have a very, very good first half, and as did his teammate from Kowloon Rugby Club, the fullback Tom McCall, who set him up for that one. Lovely work from Johnny. And once again, working hard on this UAE left wing, and then Tom McCall just showing great strength. A little bit of fortune there to retrieve the ball that he lost, the slippy ball, but in he goes there for Hong Kong's 4th, and that was the bonus point wrapped up before the 30-minute mark. So really great work from Hong Kong. And UAE started to finally get themselves some territory. They got themselves good reward here with their captain getting over the line. Brett Williams, just getting over. So the captain leading from the front. So he got himself a lovely off the line out. Nice driving more. Hong Kong couldn't counter it, even though it was blatantly coming, and over they went to get themselves good reward.
Let's also have a big hand for Bill, the British Irish Lions mascot, who leads the red pitch.
And welcome back to Hong Kong Football Club for the second half of this Asian HSBC Five Nations game between Hong Kong and UAE. Hong Kong leading 27 points to 7. and we'll be looking to build that after hearing through from Japan that Japan beating Philippines 121 points to 0. So Hong Kong will be happy with a bonus point, but we want to start building up a little bit of a points difference now in the second half.
So it doesn't look like any further changes for Hong Kong at this point. Just that one enforced change, obviously, in the first half with Chris McAdam, the starting number 10, having to leave the field with what looked like a rib injury, replaced by Niall Rowick. And UAE back onto the pitch.
We would expect Hong Kong to continue this tempo with a very strong bench in the front row, certainly with new caps on the bench looking to impress. Front row tight 5 cover is well stacked up on there, so Hong Kong will be expecting the likes of Steve Nolan and Charles French, etc., to keep the foot on the pump, and replacements probably coming in within the next sort of 15-20 minutes. Robbie,
I would think so. The Hong Kong coach, I'm sure, will be keen to give all his boys a run this week in the lead up to that Japan game next Saturday. And Taizo Hirabayashi gets us underway for the second half.
good hit there from Matt Stockdale, dislodging the ball. Lovely hit from the big man, and UAE still resecure the ball. Not the tidy ball they would have wanted there though, pushing themselves back and added huge pressure on themselves under their own posts. And UAE not changing their game plan, keep plugging away on the fringes of those rucks, pushing it wide now and having a go and maybe isolating themselves there. And there's the turnover ball, but something untoward going on, and it's a penalty there to UAE.
Not a good start for UAE, not what they would be looking for though, AC. Straight away they're back inside their own 22, and Hong Kong very much on the front foot from the off in the second half.
Certainly you don't want to find yourself off a restart no more than 5 metres from your own line, and that was down to basically basic errors, not securing the ball off their kick-off, which was there, which was an excellent hit from Matt Stockdale, to be fair. But again, just unforced errors are just pushing them back and adding pressure to themselves.
I think that's really been the key difference between the two sides in the first half. Hong Kong doing all the basics well, the set pieces, the hit, making the tackles, good handling. UAE just in those key areas, missing tackles, falling off tackles, not getting clean ball.
And to be fair, the set piece for both sides has been very good today. Line outs have been good, scrums have been solid. So both sides have been well drilled and well rehearsed on their set plays in the forward pack. They both should be quite happy with themselves. And that's excellent work there from Matt Lammy. Got himself away. Looking for big Matt Stockdale again. He's pumping his legs out.
Like a demented ferret.
And still plugging away in midfield there. Big Ali McClay hitting it up. And unfortunately into touch. So there'll be a UA line out.
Getting good linking between the Hong Kong players. The back rows, I think, are having a good game. One might have thought they would have missed the likes of Nick Hewson from this team, but certainly the combination of Lamming, Stockdale and Tauti seems to be working very well together.
Indeed, I'm quite excited to see Will Hunt come on, the Hong Kong Football Club bareback rower. An excellent footballer, and probably could fit in at second row as well, but hopefully we'll get to see a bit of game time with him, because he's an excellent ball player, and in the open play as the game breaks up, I think he'll be a great added addition to this Hong Kong team. And then Niall Rowick there taking it forward, and Big Ali McClay tidying up very nicely, and Alex Harris dogging it up. Good man and cleaning up, securing the ball. Good counter-rucking there though from UAE, but Hong Kong managed to get it back.
UAE with the advantage, and Taizo Hirabayashi hauls up Hong Kong, and the UAE get the opportunity to relieve a bit of pressure and kick for touch. Not quite sure what that offence was for, AC. Offside perhaps?
Number 12 there from Hong Kong offside. very disappointing from Hong Kong there. They would be hoping from that sort of position there. They would have built up something. I was saying the first half, 2 or 3 phases and opportunities were opening up, and Hong Kong there maybe getting a bit anxious, a bit excited, and just getting a bit eager, and unfortunately blowing the opportunity. So UAE find themselves midway between their halfway and their 22. Will hopefully secure their ball. It's been spoiled, however, and Matt Lammy once again picking up the dregs. Great work from him. Kurt Monroe dogged forward there by Big Dan Watson, and Charles French helping out his second row partner. Kurt Monroe digging it out, finding Niall Roark with Stu McGaw coming back at the angle. Former Ireland under 21 finds himself here in Hong Kong as a banker, and has been able to live his international dream through Hong Kong. A little chip there from Niall, but a little bit too much, allowing for the mark, and very well taken there from Luke Mohang, who had a torrid first half and no fault of his own, but unfortunately got isolated a few times, and Hong Kong certainly picked on this left wing of UAE, but nicely cleaned up there from the chip kick from Niall Roark.
So back to another line out with Hong Kong with the throw in. Good attacking position for Hong Kong. Bit unlucky there. Throw not straight, unfortunately. That's the first mistake we've seen from the Hong Kong hooker Alex Harris today. And UAE with the scrum put in, and an opportunity to get play out of the UAE half hopefully for the first time in this second half, and take the play to Hong Kong.
Another good scrum there from Hong Kong, but UAE have held onto their ball and taken up forward there. Looking again to go wide. We've created a good opportunity. An excellent work there from the back row of Hong Kong, Parlay. And UAE fair play have worked their way up here now to halfway. And that'll be a penalty there. No control, lifting off the feet there from Matt Lammy. That'll be disappointed. An unnecessary offence. And UAE have a little bit of a breather and will probably put this down into the corner.
Quite fortunate, I think, for Lamming that he had the wherewithal to realise that he picked the player up over the horizontal, and he was fairly careful about the way in which he put him back down.
Very nice of a number 7. You don't see that very often.
Absolutely.
But Robbie, that's probably the first time now we've seen UAE running forward onto the ball, good continuity, and they found themselves 15-20 metres down the pitch, created a penalty. Now they're in Hong Kong's half, and obviously some strong words are probably said, because this is a good UAE team, but just haven't got things together, and a bit more confidence coming into that move.
Absolutely, that's very, very much more encouraging for them, and first substitutions of the game.
So we've seen some big changes there. Steve Nolan, Matt Stockdale and Kurt Monroe coming off, and being replaced there by Pete McKee, his home ground, excellent scrum half for the Hong Kong Football Club. Matt Stockdale's been replaced there by Will Hunt.
Fairly early changes, AC. Obviously
fairly early. I think Hong Kong want to keep with their game plan, and the team's not any weaker. They've just got some fresh legs, and James Cooper's on there as well from the DA club, making his debut, and all the way over from New Zealand, Carpenter and Parlay there, just going a bit high, not deliberate, I'm sure. Unnecessary fracas afterwards. No need for that. And referee had picked up on that. Taizo's an exceptionally experienced referee and probably doesn't tolerate someone coming in to deal with things that he's already blown up. Parlay apologised immediately.
I don't think there was anything malicious in that particular tackle, but the UAE players quite understandably reacted to it. A wee bit of argy-bargy for the first time in the game. And Taizo Hirabayashi having a word with Parlay, just making sure he doesn't do that again, AC.
Indeed. I don't think it's the first time Parlay's ever spoke to a referee, so but some great. I'm very excited about seeing these changes. Like you say, Robbie, very early, but it gives guys a good 30 minutes to get stuck into the game, make an impression, and it's fresh legs for Hong Kong. And again, you see in the depth here, UAE haven't made any changes yet, bar the one force change. Where Hong Kong now making tactical changes, which is a real positive. Fresh legs, hot weather, so we should start seeing the game open up and these guys making an impression.
UAE attacking line out in the Hong Kong half.
Pete McKee's just joined in at coming at 9, replacing Kurt Monroe. Another very good scrum half. Kurt Monroe, a very snappy, aggressive scrum half. Pete McKee likes a good snipe, and as the game opens up, he's an ideal replacement. Likes to have a go, very quick, and has an absolute bullet of a pass. So things are only going to speed up with Pete McKee on the pitch. Once again, Arabian Gulf moving it forward, but getting caught behind that gain line, not helping their forwards one bit. The back line nice and static. Easy pickings there for the Hong Kong backs, and they've already found themselves 5 metres behind where they started off. Once again, Hong Kong moving up.
It's been excellent defence by Hong Kong so far today, AC.
Very good defence. Once again, forcing the error, and there's Hong Kong turning over the ball. Will Hunt getting stuck in. Lovely little chip there from Steph Alfonsi. He'll have a go with his pace, desperate for a go, and probably very jealous for all the ball that Johnny Rees has been having on the other wing. Trying to make his own fortune. He'd be disappointed that that one went into touch. But again, you're seeing in that midfield, again, the forcing the error, turnover ball, and Hong Kong's reaction is there. You see a back rower in Will Hunt. He's immediately looking to spin the ball wide, Robbie. Yeah,
it's certainly a very, very convincing performance so far from Hong Kong, and another great line-out win from Charlie French. He's having an excellent day in the line-outs.
Lovely ball there from Pete McKee off the back of that line-out. Up there from Tom McCall. Hong Kong now looking very narrow though, apart from Charles French all the way out here on the wing. Not sure he's meant to be there, but disappointingly that's not gone to hand in that far corner, and UAE survive another attack there from Hong Kong. But again, immediately the shape of the Hong Kong defence is straight in there. Back three, back into position, ready for the kick, and a wall of red shirts just await the UAE now. No other option but to kick it clear, and Johnny Rees working back. Disappointed he's let that one bounce. He won't want it to go out. Unfortunately it has. So UAE, excellent kick, find themselves all the way down into Hong Kong's half, and you should never really let a kick like that bounce, Robbie. Could have tidied that up quite nicely, and Hong Kong could have been on the counter attack, but unfortunately they find themselves down in their own half.
Yeah, it turned out to be a very effective kick in the end there, and UAE back in the Hong Kong half, as you say, and we'll be hoping to get a bit of a clean line out ball this time and let the backs have a go.
Excellent line out there from Alex Harris, taken by Parley Siati. Big Ali McLean midfield having a go, and a good line there from Tom McCall. Keeps his legs pumping, and nicely tidied up there in midfield by Hong Kong. Again though, nicely slowed down by UAE, something that's a marked improvement in the second half. Hong Kong's ball hasn't been anywhere near as quick. Alex Harris here taking it forward, and Parley tidied it up. Why they're leaving that ball exposed at the back. UAE had every right to have a go at that, and Matt Lammy having a go, carrying it forward again. Great leg work from the open side. No, Rowan taking it wide. Lovely hands from Tom McCall, and there's Johnny Rees again. Fortunately though, not such a good pass, and ball's not going to Johnny Rees there the second half, unfortunately.
Yep, so it's been a bit of a slow start to the second half. No score yet. Perhaps those Hong Kong replacements just settling into the game, picking up the pace. UAE, I think, will want to be looking to the bench before too long. AC, I can't see them breaking down the Hong Kong defence.
No, I think as the game goes on as well, they're going to be getting tired, and gaps are going to appear. All these guys in these squads are international players, so you're not expecting a weakness to appear in the side. They're like for like replacements. So you'd expect those changes to happen. I think Hong Kong will be making a couple more new changes soon as well. Maybe in midfield, looks like we might see Dave Whiteford very soon. And a good net gain there from UAE. Lovely kick down into the corner there from James Ham. And Seb Alfonsi given no option but to knock it out in the 22.
And sure enough, Dave Whiteford runs on to win his first cap for Hong Kong. Former Scotland under-20 international.
And looks like there's a bit of a change in shape. Johnny Rees here jogs his way out to take over Steph Alfonsi's position here on the left. And Dave Whitefoot steps in at 12 with Ali McClay pushing out onto that right wing. So big changes there. The poor left winger of UAE won't be happy. He's just seen the smallest man in the Hong Kong back line be replaced by the biggest man in the Hong Kong back line. So I don't think he's going to get a quieter second half. A bit of an ugly line out there, tidied up there by the new boy Whitefoot. Comes in with a nice big fend and dogs it up for 10 metres. Good work from Whitefoot. He'll be happy with that first touch. Narak playing a bit of territory, getting themselves down there and pushing back the UAE fullback, Cyrus Hoyman. And he's desperate for that ball to go over the try line. Unfortunately, he hasn't. He's been forced to kick. So good net gain there for Hong Kong, just outside the UAE 22. This is where they'll want to be to build their attack from their line out.
Good first touch for Dave Whitefoot. That'll help him settle into the game. And Hong Kong back on the attack.
Really would like to see Hong Kong have a bit of a go out wide now. And certainly with Dave Whitefoot, fresh legs, let him have a go. Nice early ball, Ali McClay coming in. Tom McCall again, a lovely ball. And Seb Alfonsi will be cursing his luck here. He's been taken off and Johnny Rees has got a ball straight away. Well played again though from Tom McCall. Lovely time pass. Moving it wide to Alex Harris. Alex had lovely hands there, unfortunately with Leon Y, which is why he's in the team as a tight five with good hands. He's given Dan Watson an opportunity, but unfortunately that's gone dead in the far corner. And flags up, and there'll be a UAE line out.
That lad Rees again, no AC. Doesn't seem to matter where you put him on the pitch. He is having a superb game. He tore up the right wing in the first half, and it looks like he's going to be doing a similar job on the left wing in the second half.
It looks like he's got a bit of a cork thigh from that last one where he's had a good crack. And lovely hands there from Leon Y as we look back at the highlights, and then lucky not to get a hand there from Big Dan Watson. And as I understand it, looks like it's a Hong Kong scrum, sorry, not a UAE line out. So still a great attacking opportunity here for Hong Kong. Pete McKee having a snipe. Good man, good strength, and in he goes. Good work from Pete McKee. Like we said earlier, his ideal situation is tired back rowers. He's had a good crack there, so Pete McKee will be happy with his 15 minutes of work.
So Hong Kong get the scoreboard ticking over again. First try of the second half, 32 points to 7. And another fairly challenging conversion for Niall Rowett to come.
Pete McKee showing great strength there. And Hong Kong needed this try in terms of keeping their momentum going. They had a very good blue spell in the first half and went a bit quiet towards the end. And they'll be still wanting to build on this score. They will be wanting to let Japan know that they're going to have a good crack at them next week, and it'll be good for their confidence as well.
Absolutely, and of course a lot of these players are pushing for places in that starting lineup against Japan next week, and McKee will be very keen to show his stuff in the remainder of the second half. Keen to get that starting number 9 shirt back for Hong Kong.
And Hong Kong making some substitutions there at a single substitution there. That's Alex Harris, known as the Hobbit, just leaving the pitch there, being replaced by regular starting hooker Tom Boland, who's just returned back from his honeymoon.
He should have a bit of anger and aggression to get out of his system then, Andy.
He should. Should be quite fit though, Robbie.
So, tough kick for the Hong Kong replacement standoff, Niall Rowett. Out on the right touchline. Again, not the best side for a right-footed kicker.
Very traditional silence here in the ground. Very good crowd here at Hong Kong Football Club. Always great support for the Hong Kong team. Certainly as success comes, it always breeds bigger crowds. Great following now from the local rugby communities, schools, universities here in Hong Kong. And really is encouraging to see a full Hong Kong Football Club.
Successful conversion for Niall Rowett. Very good kick, extending Hong Kong's lead out to 32 points to 7. And it looks like UAE are going to the bench. Not quite sure Nope, looks like they're delayed that substitution, and UAE get the game started once again. Charlie French hits it up in the midfield for Hong Kong.
Getting very scrappy at those breakdowns. UAE have made a real point in the second half of really counter-rucking, making hard work of each breakdown, which seemed relentlessly easy in the first half. Will Hunt there, dogging it forward as well. That'll be his first good ball carry. The game is slowing down a little bit here. You can see the tight five of both the teams that have battled out through the whole 60 minutes so far are really starting to wear down. And he's getting a bit scrappy now at the breakdowns. And that'll really annoy the number 8, Brett Williams there. He's made such an effort, got himself in a great position, and unfortunately has knocked it into touch. So there'll be a Hong Kong line out. And on we see is number 23, Kenny Munner, coming on here. He's replacing James Ham, and apologise, he's changed his jersey. That's actually George Perkins who's coming on at number 10, replacing James Ham, who's had a mixed game. He's probably desperately wanted some go-forward ball, but he's kicked very well in the latter parts of the first half, so he'll be happy with his day's work.
Good take by Polly Tauti in the line out, but pulled up for an offence, and UAE find themselves with a penalty. Opportunity to take play back down into the Hong Kong half, and the UAE number 9 Antoine Berthul has taken over the kicking duties, and very successfully. Nice touch find there from the UAE scrum half, and UAE find themselves with an attacking line out just inside the Hong Kong 10-metre line. More changes for Hong Kong.
And we see the big Alex Badley coming on. So Dan Watson being replaced there by Bill Brandt, and Lee Wai coming off, the local boy. Had a very good debut. Be very happy with himself there, being replaced by big Alex Badley, a man who's still undecided what position he wants to play, whether he's a front rower or a back rower, but he's a very aggressive, physical player, so he'll be relishing the opportunity of getting stuck in here.
I think both Leon Wai and Dan Watson can be very happy with their work today. Dan won a lot of good line-out ball, and Leon, certainly the scrums have been very dominant for Hong Kong. So an excellent debut for Leon, the first of what I'm sure will be many caps for Hong Kong.
And here is Badley, his first set up. Will Hunt having a good hit prior to that as well. Pete McKee's distribution has been excellent today so far. Dave Whiteford cleaning out nicely. Pete McKee bossing them around. And there is Badley again, fresh legs. That's his second hit up in so many minutes. And he's unfortunately knocked that on. Tied up there by UAE. That's Tom. There's another loose ball. Well, it's very humid out there today, so lots of slippy ball. UAE reverting back to their pick and go again.
Be interesting to see the tackle count for Hong Kong this afternoon, AC. They've certainly made a lot of hits out there, and just like that, very effective tackling.
Again, Hong Kong placing such pressure on there near the breakdown that it's given UAE no time to even have a go. Tied up by Nara, taking it back into his forwards. We'll appreciate that. And we're getting a bit of a puff on now. Pete McKee, an excellent marshal of the team though, bossing them around. You can hear him barking all the way from up here in the commentator's box. Tom McCall going downtown. It's what they'll need. This is where they want to be playing their rugby. And the fullback has done an excellent job there. Sorry, Hoyman, good work. Seeing a much more confident performance now from the UAE in the second half. They're having a go, nothing to lose. But again, Hong Kong's formation excellent. UAE nice and compact, which is perfect for Hong Kong. It's exactly what they want to defend against. Tom McCall tidying up nicely, getting his boys behind him, buying them time. There, Nara back in the pocket, ready for the ball from Pete McKee. Nicely tied it up. And Hong Kong have made good of a fairly uncomfortable position down there. So great work there from Tom McCall again. Really is a solid performer at the back there.
So we're just about into the final quarter of this match, with Hong Kong comfortable lead, 34 points to 7, but UAE on the attack, and a good line out there from UAE, clean ball. They go to the rolling maul once again.
And they're trundling forward. Hong Kong know exactly what's coming, but once you get a good rolling maul going, there's not much you can do about it. Fortunately, it's gone static there. They'll have to use this ball quickly. And that Alex Badley a little bit eager. He's given himself offside there. So UAE have got an advantage here. They need to take it. And it's just getting scrappy now. So they'll go back for the penalty. And that's, if my eyes don't deceive me, that was Alex Badley just jumping the gun a little bit there at side of the ruck.
So you'd expect UAE to prod the ball down into the corner and go to line out and more than likely rolling maul after the success of that particular tactic in the first half, of course, which brought them their sole try so far. First part of mission accomplished. Ball in touch, and they'll be hoping for clean line out take.
So Graham Murphy, the second half substitute, coming in. It's exactly what they needed. Like you say, first part done, but sacked very well there from Hong Kong. They're looking to get this started again. Hong Kong have done a very good job. It's had a good platform on the side of this ruck. And they've done very well. Hong Kong is going to be a scrum, so UAE will have another crack, another set play, but well spoiled there from Hong Kong.
We knew it was going to be a very physical tussle between these two big packs, and I think overall Hong Kong have really edged them in all the various aspects of the game. Not to say that UAE will be particularly disappointed. I think they've stuck to the task well, but Hong Kong just seem that little bit better drilled and better prepared.
Yeah, I think that's a fair thing to say. You know, you can't fault the endeavour of this UAE team, but you know they've come together. They've crammed in 3 days in, I believe they're in Cyprus for a training camp. And you know, you look at this Hong Kong team. You know, they're training 3 or 4 times a week, building up to this 6 weeks out. They've got great conditioning programs. Hong Kong is a very professional outfit, and the players are very appreciative. They're very aware of the perks and the benefits they get from being in a city like Hong Kong, where you've got no more than 30 minutes to travel to a training session or a gym. And you can see that now, and this is why Hong Kong are probably the most likely candidates to push Japan as the Asian top seed, which they already have done in 7. So, you know, it's credit to UAE. This is their second season in a row they've stayed in the top tier. You know, obviously they're the newest of the unions after being the former Emirates team, but UAE, I think they can be pretty proud of this performance actually, to come to Hong Kong and against a very good Hong Kong team.
Scrum's gone a bit messy now. I don't know whether that's the departure of Leon Y that has unsettled them a bit, but UAE get the ball back, and good run up the middle, nicely recycled.
Again, midfield, Stu McGaw nicely tied it up. Good solid ball, but again, just so slow. It allows Hong Kong time to reform, get themselves ready, and the pick and go start again, and it's just easy picking once again. That's a good hit from Tom Boland, driving them back. That's a great hit there. Lovely work there from Niall Rock. Matt Lamming getting underneath him as well. Another great classic sevens performance from this guy. He's had a really good game. Working hard, working tirelessly. Straight back on his feet. Tackling again. Great work. Pete McKee having a good crack at it as well. Competing for that ball. That's very messy in there, and Hong Kong's desperate to eagerness to turn over that ball has obviously given away a penalty. It's becoming quite a common scene here, so it's how long that the referee is going to be tolerant with it. We may see a card soon as bodies get tired.
So the floodlights are on as dusk descends on Hong Kong. 15 minutes or so left to play. And the players enjoying a quick water break while the referee has a word with Captain Tom McCall.
So I understand a team warning's been handed out there for continuous infringement at the breakdown. So Tom McCall will be passing on that message. I think the last thing they'll want was to lose some bodies there. I think they'll be still looking to build some score, and they won't be content with just the one try in the second half. And once again, UAE putting it into the corner. They'll be looking for their ever reliable driving maul, which to be fair to Hong Kong last breakdown, they countered very well. So we'll be looking to do the same again here.
So UAE to throw in. The distinctive blonde locks of Graham Murphy. And a good take from two.
There. Yeah, an excellent midfield defence there from Hong Kong. So eager to get up in their face. It's almost like a blitz D. And there's the knock on. Great defence there from Hong Kong. Working so hard, such aggression. Badly getting stuck in again. He really has had a good 10 minutes when he's come on, Robbie. Getting stuck in, some good hits, some good carries.
Certainly has. That was knocking the ball out of the hands of the UAE number 20, David Shikami. Kenyan, who's now living and playing his rugby out in the UAE.
A bit of concern though, James Cooper down from the DEA club. He's taken him a long time back from a very serious knee injury, so hopefully this is not too serious. Just his lungs have taken a knee, but it's not looking too positive for the big man, James Cooper. Correct me if I'm wrong, Robbie. I believe Hong Kong have probably used their entire subs bench by now. I think is that right?
Looking that way, I think unfortunately for Stephen Nolan, if James Cooper was forced to leave the pitch, I think the horse might have to find himself doing another stint in the front row, which I'm sure he wouldn't be looking forward to at this stage, AC.
No, I don't think he would be actually. He's probably well and truly rested up with his feet up now, pretty pleased with the work he's done, so he won't be wanting to get dragged back in. Nicely away there from Pete McKee. He really is a reliable source from the back of that scrum in danger situations like this, and nicely taken there by the Cyrus Hyman. He's had a very good second half, nice and secure under the high ball, and he's given his forwards a platform to get back to. And UAE go back into the unfortunately predictable pattern of hitting up close to the rucks, which again is just easy picking from Hong Kong. And they really got to start backing themselves here in midfield and having a bit of a crack. They've got some big boys in there. I'm sure the forwards would be a welcome movement of the ball. Nicely cleaned up there though by Chris Birch. And unfortunately has lost the ball forward as soon as I said that. So Hong Kong's pressure again turns into a turnover ball, and Hong Kong will have a scrum midway in their half.
Yeah, poor old Chris Birch he's dropped a few today. It's I think that's as much as anything result of the excellent pressure he's been put under by the Hong Kong midfield. But it certainly hasn't helped the UAE cause.
So we come into the last 10 minutes of the second half here with Hong Kong really struggling to find continuity, partly down maybe to the number of changes, but that's a great turnover ball there from UAE. Pete McKee unable to hold on to it and taken forward. Good platform now. Tried to be slowed down there by Pale Teati. And back out to the left wing. Again, a real rush defence, giving the UAE no time to think. And to force that turnover ball. Wide ball there from Pete McKee. Dave Whiteford taking it forward. He's got Stu McGaw and he's seen a bit of a hole and he's had a go. A bit of an air ball there. Tom McCall again, lovely hands. And nicely cleaned out there by Stu McGaw. Quick ball here from Hong Kong. Big Ali McClay takes it forward. Johnny Rees again, there he is, the man. He pops up everywhere, a real jack in the box. Lovely try there from Johnny Rees. In he goes, he'll be happy with that for his second try, and a real great bit of continuity. Started off there by Dave Whiteford, seeing there half a gap. Great work from Hong Kong, good score.
You can see that Johnny Rees is really, he's having a wonderful game. He's looking, he's eager for work, he's finding the ball all over the shop, and every time he gets it, he's causing huge problems to the UAE defence.
Just a very, very good team try there. Tom McCall just here as we look at the highlights. Quick ball, and this is what we're talking about. Quick ball just doesn't let teams get their defence ready, and that's exactly that. Johnny Rees picking a really good line, working hard. I mean, he really is a pocket rocket, fit as a fiddle. Used to be on the front cover of Men's Health, I believe. Overactive muscles has got some sort of syndrome. There's plenty of guys in our Type 5 would love that. But there you go, Johnny Rees always looking for his work. In he goes, little smile, be happy with himself there. Great work, Johnny Rees.
It'll be interesting, even when the Sevens boys come back into the frame, you know, the way that some of the Hong Kong backs have been playing today, they might find a struggle to get back into that starting lineup. Certainly the likes of Johnny Rees, I think, has certainly cemented his position as a first choice for Coach Lee Jones.
I think you can't fault a guy who's got himself 2 tries, and ball dropping off the tee there, and Narag forced to attempt a drop goal. Bit of a hash of that one, so he won't be happy, but off we go, jogging back for the restart here from UAE. But going back to your original question, original point there, Robbie, I think you're right. I mean, it says a lot about Hong Kong rugby when you've got guys like Johnny Rees doing so well, and you can leave someone like Rowan Varty, Tom McQueen. These are genuine guys that are playing world-class sevens now, and Hong Kong can afford to leave them out, rest them up, and that's only good in terms of letting those guys who are playing sevens to play to the best of their abilities. Fresh legs, and they are 2 very different games now as well. Big Ali McClay getting forward, unfortunately pass not going to hand. Nicely back there by Anthony Bertful. Again, Hong Kong's just continuous pressure, turnover ball, lovely hands from Nara, great feet work, having a go. And he's got himself caught up there by David Shickham. He's caught him there. He's had a very good game since he's come on, which was a forced substitution, but he's had a good game. And Hong Kong keep borrowing their way forward. Big James Cooper there off the back of the ruck. Seems to have recovered from that knee knock. Nice big solid clean out. Pete McKee, lovely work. Nalrock again, he shirked the tackle there. He's having a good go, good work. Big Ali McClay from close in. You're not going to stop him from there. Good work, lovely inside ball from Nalrock. And Hong Kong now are starting to find those gaps as this UAE defence tires.
Yeah, that was again very nice interchange between the Hong Kong backs. Certainly looking forward to next week's match against Japan. I think the Hong Kong team are now building up the head of steam, playing with some real confidence, and I think in these last 8 minutes or so, UAE are going to do very well to keep Hong Kong from scoring a few more tries.
Really good line there from Big Ali McClay. Really is a big boy. Ex-number 8 finds himself in the centre. He's got lovely hands. He was involved in the 7 squad last year because of his size, his speed, and he really is a real good specimen of a man to be veteran playing in midfield, and from that sort of range I don't think you're going to stop him. And Niall here, he'd be disappointed with his last effort, obviously falling off the tee, so he'll hope to be getting back into his consistency and giving this one a nudge over just slightly to the left of the posts. And straight through the middle there from Narag, so back into kicking form.
So what can UAE conjure up in these last 6 or 7 minutes of the game? Chris Birch taking over restart duties. UAE will be keen to get their hands on the ball and at least put a bit of pressure on Hong Kong for the last period of the game.
Shaky restart there, and messy, difficult for Hong Kong to tidy up, but they've not managed it, and UAE will have another crack off this line out. Again, a good solid line out from UAE. Bit of go forward ball, and that's what we want to see. Guys getting forward, giving their forwards a target to go forward with. It's only the second or third time we've seen that. Shaky pass though. And Hong Kong cleaning up. Stu McGaw having a go, and he'll go the whole length here for Stu, so he'll get his second try. Stu McGaw will be happy with that again. There's that sustained pressure, and unfortunately the floodgates are opening here for UAE's excellent first 20 minutes in the second half. They've really held Hong Kong, and all of a sudden they're falling away. I think this is probably the fitness starting to come through, Robbie.
Yeah, there's a few weary looking bodies in the UAE team now, and as you say, it's probably what you would expect at this stage of the match. Hong Kong with a good strength and conditioning program. The players work very hard on that particular aspect of the game. UAE, not the same level professional setup, and of course playing away from home, it's never that easy. So Hong Kong will certainly be looking to pile on the points in the last 5 minutes, and successful conversion there from Niall Rowick takes the score out to 53 points to 7.
So this surpasses Hong Kong's performance at the Emirates Cup of Nations this summer, which was a score of 51-6. So Hong Kong will be happy with that, because this certainly is a much more improved, much more together team from the UAE, but this is probably a slightly more together performance from Hong Kong. So Lee Jones, the Hong Kong coach, will be very happy with this performance, and hopefully they'll keep their foot down and build a little bit of a good score to take into next week's game. So Hong Kong again securing ball off the line out. Will Hunt working hard again, taken forward there from Tom Boland. Again, good solid stuff. Good carry again, clearing out. Hong Kong just taking the ball forward. Good target points. Narak, lovely ball to Big Ali McClay. Bit of step footwork, a bit shaky there, probably forcing the pass, and UAE have found themselves an opportunity, got in each other's way unfortunately, and will find themselves giving away a line out. But good pressure there from defence from UAE, getting in the face, forcing the error there from Ali McClay. Got himself caught up a little bit and found his support players just pushing in front of him a little bit too flat. But Tom Boland, bit of a pressure line out here. Hong Kong want to play themselves out. And nicely taken there from Will Hunt. Pete McKee will look for his standard distribution. Instead of the target box kick, he's played it deep. Unfortunately, they've let it bounce, just like an earlier mistake from Hong Kong in the first half. A fullback should be tidying that up if he can catch it. And he's placed a lot of pressure on. His forwards having to work back. Hong Kong again, good formation in D. And off we go back into our pick and goes again from the UAE. Literally, you could wrap your arms around the entire team at the moment. They're so close together. Matt Lammy, brilliant work again. Such a tenacious open side. Keeps turning ball over. He's got his team going forward here. Charles French offering himself. Nalrock having a go. And unfortunately crossing there. Parley, fortunately looking for the ball. Not given there by Nalrock. So got caught for the crossing. But Matt Lammy really is a good find for this team, isn't he, Robbie? I
think all the back row for Hong Kong have played exceptionally well today. I think Laming has probably been the pick of the bunch, but Parley Tauti's again put in a very solid performance at number 8. Matt Stockdale was, I think, certainly one of the players in the first half, and again I think Coach Lee Jones will be delighted with the way that his back row performed today.
They have the privilege, Robbie, of having a line out right in front of us. That's just there behind on the picture in the commentary box. So get a bird's eye view here of the UAE line out. It's Graham Murphy, who came on second half. He's had quite a good half. He's got stuck in, emptied his tank. And there's something that both these teams have had as very solid set plays. And again, very flat ball, static there from the number 8, Brett Williams, the captain, taking it forward, but giving no go-forward ball there for his forwards. And the pressure there from Stu McGaw is forcing the errors. And Niall Roat walking back. He's made him spill it. Continues back, but he's tidied up very nicely, the Luke Morahan. Again, unnecessary errors there, Robbie, that don't need to come into the game if the basics are done right.
That's unfortunately been the story a bit this afternoon for UAE. Hong Kong, quick line out.
Tom Boland letting it bounce, taking it forward. Good solid go forward ball again. There's the target, Pete McKee, quick early ball. James Cooper taking it forward. Going to go to the target. Hong Kong players spread completely out wide, but knocked into touch. And that's the game, Robbie. Hong Kong will be pretty happy with that last 15 minutes. And a final score of 53 points to 7. Safe to say Lee Jones will be pretty happy with that?
I think he'll be delighted with the way that the team have performed this afternoon. I think from 1 through right to 23, the players have put in very, very good performances, and they'll certainly be building up a lot of confidence going forward into the big match next week against Japan.
Going to put you on the spot, man of the match.
I knew you'd do that. I think I'd have to go for Johnny Rees, really. Every time he's had the ball this afternoon, he's looked dangerous. He's shown some tremendous pace and lovely footwork, and he's finished off his opportunities with some real panache and style.
I think that's a fair call. Him and Matt Lammy, I thought, had excellent games in the forward. And Lammy had I thought, great work. I'd be interested to see his stats and how many turnover ball he created, because he had a tireless game. As did Parley, to be fair, at number 8. From the UAE, what do you think they can take from this game?
I think the coach is going to have some serious questions to ask. I mean, I think it goes back to the basics, really. You know, I think they missed too many tackles, they dropped too many balls. There were some, I think, encouraging signs in the set pieces, as we've talked about. But really, they've got Korea coming to visit them next week, and I think that they're going to have to step up a notch before they